Good afternoon. I'm Jack Stollsteimer, the District Attorney of Delaware County. We're here today, as you all know, we charged earlier today 20 individuals who worked at the Chester Community Charter School with child abuse. 9 of the individuals actually, according to the surveillance videos we've reviewed, actually laid their hands on children and abused them physically. 11 other individuals who are sort of different roles in the school turned their backs and looked the other way, or in fact oftentimes looked right at the abuse happening and failed to report it. So they are charged with failure to report. All of these employees, all 20 people, have a duty under Pennsylvania law to report instances of child abuse. They are mandated to report that by law. So by not reporting it, they violated the law. We've also charged those 11 individuals who witnessed this without doing anything with endangering the welfare of those children. But there are 9 individuals who we have surveillance videos that I've watched of them putting their hands on these children, some as young as 5. It's their K to 5 years grades, and these are children who are in the emotional support program. And so in the surveillance videos, you can see them doing pressure point holds on the child's shoulder, causing them pain. You can see them grabbing their hands and putting them in front of them to restrain them. Oftentimes you can see them then using their knee to take the child to the ground. And at least one incident I saw them jack a kid up against the wall. This is just unacceptable behavior to happen anywhere, but particularly in a school setting for children who are supposed to be getting emotional support. So we are thankful that the Chester Township Police, as soon as this came to light, Officer Strofe and Detective Mullen, working with our office, my Deputy District Attorney, Kristen Kemp, have investigated this matter. It's still an ongoing investigation, but we've charged these individuals and we're moving forward, and I assume you all might have some questions.
Can you talk about the emotional support program, first of all, so we understand it? These kids are supposed to be getting help with their emotions, and they're getting attacked in the classroom?
Exactly right. I mean, my understanding is these are children who it's been identified that they need more help at that age, at a very tender age, K to 5 grades we're talking about here. And so these people are supposed to be giving them extra support as they're trying to learn in school. And instead, oftentimes, they're just either intimidating them physically and then laying hands on them. It's very disturbing to see the surveillance videos.
Jack, could you tell us the relationship between the contractor and the school, and who was involved there, and are they just as culpable as the school, or vice versa?
My understanding, and again this is a continuing investigation, is that most of these, if not all of these employees, I don't think all of them, but most of them were contracted through this organization, Peak Performance. Thank you. They're supposed to be keeping records, they're supposed to be training, and they've told the school that they were doing all of that. The law enforcement investigation is finding that out to not be true, that they haven't trained these people in the proper way to restrain a child, if you have to restrain a child. And the school is under an obligation, I think you see it in the complaint, that if a child is restrained at any time, that has to be reported by the state. So I think there are some issues here for both the school and certainly for this company that was providing some of these employees, because the school wasn't looking at their own surveillance video.
Jack,
Okay.
the affidavit describes this as systemic. It wasn't sporadic, it wasn't incidental. This was something that was known about, that people ignored or participated in. Is your office investigating the rest of that school just to make sure that this isn't taking place anywhere else?
Yeah, great question. So we are, as I've mentioned, Alex, it's a continuing investigation. If you see from the complaint, most of the incidents that we've charged happened between November and December of last year. We're still looking at video. So there will be more work being done by these great officers from Chester Township who picked up the cudgel when we first got complaints in the door. They have been investigating this nonstop. But Chief Colson, who I spoke to this morning, is absolutely committed to continuing the investigation, and if there are more charges warranted, we're going to bring them.
Do you think that there are more victims out there, and if so, what's your message to these parents at this time?
I can't tell you how many more people. 26 children have been identified as people who are victims already. We also know that some young people witnessed these things happening and may not have been actually victimized themselves. That's another form of victimization. I think, again, to Alex's point, this is a systemic problem in this school where these kids in this program we're living in fear, a lot of them. So if there are more victims, we would love for their parents to come forward. It probably took a lot of courage for these young children to tell their parents what was happening in school and why they were afraid to go back to school. But as we're interviewing these children, we're getting the stories. And if there are more people and more children who want to come forward, we are here for them, as are the Chester Township Police.
Have the victims' families seen these videos, and just your thought as a human being watching these?
Yeah, I don't think that they've seen the videos. As a parent, I'm really disturbed to think that when you send your child to school, that somebody who is being paid to take care of your child is actually hurting them is just frightening. But just as a human being, it's awful to watch these grown people the way they're treating these young kids. And you can just imagine what this is going to be like for those children going forward. This is just not the way we're supposed to treat young people, particularly in a school setting. It's been a complete failure. And I'm outraged by it. Talking again to Chief Colson this morning, he hasn't seen anything like this either for a long time in his career. And so that's why we want to make sure that we brought the charges as quickly as possible, but also to continue the investigation to make sure that we've stopped it.
And Jackie, 20 individuals, 26 students. Have you seen a case like this where this many people are involved?
Not like this. And again, one of the more disturbing things is how there are people sitting there watching it happen. Sitting in the teacher's desk watching these kids get abused. And the surveillance video doesn't have audio, but you can see from most of these attacks, these children are just sitting there. And an adult comes over and starts pinching their shoulder till they're writhing in pain, and then putting them in restraints, and then picking them up. Meanwhile, there's an adult just sitting there watching it all happen. I'm as outraged by that as you can imagine, right? Both the fact that somebody is physically assaulting these kids, but also educators, people who are working in the school, just allowing it to happen, systemic. Look the other way.
How long was the school operating with this company? How many years?
Don't know. You have to ask the school.
So with the 20 people, have they said anything? What kind of charges, what kind of time are they facing? Have they given any explanation for what?
Well, they're all, dealing with lawyers at this point and turning themselves into the police. I think 3 defendants have already turned themselves in today. They're all facing felony counts at this point. Some of them, a lot of them. Harris, Daniels, those defendants who actually touched those children time and time again, they are on all of these videos over and over again. And again, this is a continuing investigation, John, so there may be more charges coming. But they're going to have their day in court. Right now, these are charges, allegations, and we're prepared to move forward and prosecute them fully.
For the parents of remaining students there, how confident are you that this abuse has stopped? What would you tell them?
What I can tell them is all we can do in law enforcement is stop what we've seen and what we've learned and what we've uncovered thus far. We're going to continue the investigation, and if there are more incidents, if people want to come forward and help us with that, we are open for that business. But we're also just going to do what we do in law enforcement. We're going to just continue to investigate this until we don't have any more bad actors to hold accountable.
And this was just a 7-year-old who said...
Didn't want to go to school anymore. Didn't want to go to school anymore, John, because he was afraid to go to school. When a small child is telling you, you're a parent, that they're afraid to go back to school because they're afraid of what the teachers are doing with them, that is just a parent's worst nightmare. So I'm thankful those young people did that. I'm thankful their parents listened. And I'm thankful that the law enforcement, the Chester Township Police Department, jumped on this immediately, contacted our office, and we've done the work we've done. None of these people right now, these 20 people, are teaching children today. That's a victory for people who go to that school.
The spokesperson for the school said that all of the parents of these children had decided to keep their kids in the school. Do you know if that's accurate?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We know that the school says they conducted their own internal investigation. Did the school reach out to Chester Township Police?
Not to my knowledge. But the Chester Township Police did get cooperation from school officials. There's also child line reports that need to be made. So as soon as we knew something, and I'm not sure what the order was, whether or not the school knew first, but as soon as we knew something, Chester Township Police were on this that day.
Are they getting continued?
Pardon me?
Are they getting continued support from the schools? Is the school still cooperating at this time?
To my knowledge, they are, but again, it's a continuing investigation. What we've done, focused on this past weekend, was making sure that we got these people charged.
How far back are you looking at getting surveillance video here?
Well, at this point, the Chester Township Police have been able to look at a couple of months' worth of video. I think that they're trying to get more of that, but again, continuing investigation. Our mission right now was to hold these people accountable and make sure that they're not teaching children today.
Just to make sure, was this one classroom that kids front page, or they, like, each grade had a classroom of this type of?
My understanding is there was a couple of classrooms where this program was being run in, and I think you see from the complaint that they're mentioned in there, classroom A, and then another with a different name to it. I forget the second classroom's name, but I think kids filter through those classrooms during the course of the day. It's my
Do you know if this company is working with any other schools?
I don't, not at this point.
It seems like the workload's going to be pretty big in terms of like all of those teachers. Because anybody who saw anything and didn't say anything, did everybody in the school know? It seems like a pretty huge project.
Well, what we've seen from the videos that we've looked at, right, it's inside a classroom. So there's an individual who's a support staff who is assaulting this child. If there's a teacher watching, they've been charged. So as of today, we've gotten our hands around everybody we needed to charge based on the evidence we have today. But again, as a continuing investigation, there could be more videos uncovered, there could be more parents coming forward, but we're open to that. But we needed to get this case charged as quickly as possible, and that's why we're...
Is there anywhere parents should reach out if they think...
They can always call our office, as you know, Alex, but I would call the Chester Township Police Department. Chief Colson, Patrolman Strafe, and Detective Mullen have been doing a great job. They are the leads on this case in terms of the investigation at this point.
And is that where they're turning themselves in?
Correct. And they're making arrangements with the district court as well. We have a district court here in Upper Providence where we bring child abuse task force cases, and so this case will eventually filter through that court.
Where's that at?
Right here in Upper Providence on Providence Road.